Hello, welcome to the Electrical Works program. My name is Jesus Vela and I am the instructor. Today we're going to go over some vocabulary words and definitions. The vocabulary can be found in the National Electric Code Book, otherwise known as the NEC. The vocabulary and definitions will be found in Article 100. But before we start, you know what they say, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. I have some questions to ask you. How do you know, or do you know how an electrician tells if he's working on AC or DC? Do you know how an electrician tells if he's working on AC or DC? Well, if it's AC, his teeth chatter when he grabs onto the wires. If it's DC, his teeth just lock into place. No? Okay. Let's try another one. What is an electrician's favorite ice cream flavor? Think about it. How about chocolate? Chocolate? Okay. No? Okay, let's try another one. What kind of car does an electrician drive? Now this is an easy one. What kind of car does an electrician drive? How about a Volkswagen? Very good. Okay. Okay, so I'm not a comedian. Let's get on to our word for the day. The word for the day is accessible readily. Accessible readily. Or readily accessible. I will present it as accessible readily because that's how it can be found in the National Electric Code Book. Let's spell the word. A-C-C-E-S-S-I-B-L-E. R-E-A-D-I-L-Y. Accessible readily. The definition. Capable of being reached quickly for operation, renewal, or inspection without requiring those to whom readily access is a requisite to climb over or remove obstacles or to resort to portable ladders and so forth. It's very important to understand the words and their meanings and their application. The term readily accessible can be found in the National Electric Code Book 70 times. Now I'd like to point out 3 different words in the definition. Capable of being reached quickly. Reached quickly. Remove obstacles. If you have to remove an obstacle from the device you're trying to get to, it is not readily accessible. So you cannot put anything in the way. And third, portable ladders. What that means is if you need to bring a ladder to reach the object, it is not readily accessible. Very good. Now, let's look at an example of a panel that is not readily accessible. Here we have a washer and a dryer, and the gray box is an electrical panel. The panel is not readily accessible. Let's examine why. If I were to take the screws off the panel, I would have to climb on top of the dryer. That is not readily accessible. Or I would have to move it out of the way. That's not readily accessible. It is behind an object, so therefore it is not readily accessible. Now let's look at an example that is readily accessible. Here we have a two-story structure. We have the gray box, which is the panel, on the second floor, and we have stairs going up to the second floor. This is acceptable. This panel is readily accessible. Let's examine why. It can be reached quickly as soon as we climb the stairs. We don't have to bring a ladder because all we have to do is climb the stairs. We do not have to remove any objects that are in front. It is readily accessible. Let's spell it again. Accessible can be a funny word. Does it have two C's or one C, two S's or one S? Let's spell it together. A-C-C-E-S-S-I-B-L-E. R-E-A-D-I-L-Y. Accessible. Readily. Let's write it out. On your notebook, please write the word accessible readily. Accessible readily. Very good. Now, you will encounter, when you're taking a test, this word readily accessible. Usually it will be a multiple choice question. Fill in the blank. You will have, this is the word readily accessible from our vocabulary. In a test situation, you will have a sentence with a blank. Let's read it. Capable of being reached quickly for operation, renewal, or inspection without resorting to portable ladders, and such is known as. And we have to remember what the word is that fits that definition. Let's block this word. Now we have four choices. Let's go over the four choices. A, accessible equipment. Accessible equipment. B, accessible wiring methods. C, accessible readily. And D, all of the above. You might want to pick D, all of the above, because all the definitions have the word accessible. But our word was, say it, accessible readily, which reach quickly. You have to be able to reach it quickly without using ladders. That made it accessible readily, so our answer is C. Very good. We have now mastered the word readily accessible or accessible readily. But before we conclude, I'd like to leave you with a few words of wisdom. Think about this. Treat a man as he is, and he will remain as he is. Treat a man as he can and should be, and he will become as he can and should be. Thank you very much.